We're here in Monte Carlo for the Rendez-Vous de Septembre. For AM Best TV, I'm Richard Banks. And I'm joined now by Tony Ursano, who's founder and managing partner at Insurance Advisory Partners. Tony, welcome. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. It's terrific to be here in AM Best Monte Carlo offices.
Oh, we're delighted with this space. It's lovely. And we're delighted to have you. Insurance and reinsurance, broadly speaking, have been bought and sold in the same way for hundreds of years. Could we be about to see a fundamental change?
Well, with everything that's going on in the world of technology and the advances that are being made, obviously, in particular with AI, I think it requires a lot of imagination to sort of think forward to and envision what may happen to the industry. At the end of the day, the insurance industry has so many various segments. It's hard to generalize. But when I think about, for example, the SME sector, which is a coveted sector that so many people are looking to gain scale in, I think their AI and technology is going to be quite disruptive, and the ability to buy that insurance differently going forward is something that you could easily imagine given what's going on. I think when you think about larger, more complex risks, it's a little trickier. Those are more bespoke solutions. They require intensive underwriting, perhaps a little harder to rely exclusively on technology and AI and machine learning to actually get there. I do think, as we think about which segments within the industry could potentially be most disruptive, it's probably at the end of the day on the distribution side. When you have carriers who are capital intensive, who are paid to absorb volatility, and who have the risk, there it'll be a little bit trickier than perhaps on the distribution side. So, I think a lot about what does this all mean. I think it's hard to be precise how the chips will fall at the end of the day, but definitely in the SME space and in distribution in particular, I think we're watching it very, very carefully to see how this new technology impacts those businesses.
So, Tony, you've been coming to Monte Carlo for many years. You've seen many cycles turn. Do you have a sense as to where we are in this cycle?
Well, I think it's different. And people are talking about, are we starting, we're starting into the softening hard market. But for me, I think there's a fundamental change going on within the industry. The world, in our view, is just becoming a riskier place. And you can go through all the various reasons for that, whether it's climate change or the geopolitical environment or the concentration of risk or whatever the case may be. But it's hard now to predict, what's the next black swan event, what's going to happen that we're not imagining, what's going to happen that we're not modeling, what's going to happen that we're not accounting for, and we're going to be surprised again. And so while in a vacuum the market is beginning a slight softening, whether or not that is uninterrupted by a spike in losses or some event that we're not yet anticipating, I think that's a probable outcome. So I think we're in a different world. I think the world is much riskier. I think the need for carriers to get a return on their capital is even greater. And so I expect that we'll have a slight change to the historical norm of the cycles in the insurance market.
All of which, I guess, speaks to the relevance of insurance and reinsurance. How do companies remain relevant in that changing environment?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because I think the insurance industry is extraordinarily relevant. It is after all the oil that fuels the world's global economic engine. It is what provides society with resilience. As our chairman, Joe Plumeri, says now, it's the ultimate first responder. You talk about ambulances and fire departments and police response. Well, what about insurers who show up in a disaster and actually fund rebuilding and the restoring of people's lives and property. So and it all relates to the war on talent that we're having and attracting really talented new people. This is a noble industry.
Yes.
It provides resilience to society. The economy couldn't work without it. And so I think it's more relevant than ever. And, if we can figure out a way to continue to close the gap, the insurance gap, the coverage gap, it's going to become even more important to society and even more noble as an industry in our economy.
So, Tony, one final question, if I may. What issues are being missed now, which will be most important in the future?
I think the biggest issue that's being missed is whether or not insurers are getting paid for the risk that they take, and whether or not they're able over a cycle, over a long period of time, through a cycle, to earn the relevant or required return on the capital that they deploy to absorb the risk that they do, to provide the resilience that they do to the world's economy. And so, I continue to believe that more discipline has to be utilized when underwriting risks. Easy for me to say, I'm not an underwriter, but at the end of the day, insurers should be paid for the risk they absorb, and they should get a better return on capital so that that capital is more readily available to do the important things that the insurance industry does for the world.
Tony, it's a great pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
For AM Best TV, I'm Richard Banks.